friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. Well, we still have a bunch of apples on the tree that I have yet to pick, and I'm trying to work through the ones I've already picked so far. So recently I pulled out a jar of my Blackberry Applesauce and decided I better use it up. And remember when I said in that other video I didn't really care much for applesauce? Well, that one changed my mind. I loved the Blackberry Applesauce. It tastes so good in my homemade yogurt. So yesterday I made a batch of raspberry applesauce, pulling out a couple of bags of raspberries from 2016 I had frozen up. And then today I made a batch of blueberry applesauce, doing the same thing, pulling some blueberries out of the freezer from 2016 because I still have all this year's berries of both kinds. And so that was a way to make more space in my freezer and can up some applesauce. And I tell you, these are so good. It has totally changed my view on applesauce since doing this. And I may or may not do a video on this because I was thinking about making some more of the blackberry applesauce. But I did do a post on my blog page, and I will link my blog page below and to that post so you can see it. So that's kind of what I'm doing now, is I'm blogging over at Blogspot, which is my old blog page. I'm just renewing it and getting it up and going and getting into that. I'm actually enjoying that better than other blog options I've tried. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to use up some of these smaller, kind of funny looking apples, because I'm not going to bother peeling these. I'm not even going to take the cores out. And so this is a great way to use these kinds up so I don't have to mess with all these little tiny ones. I did get some nice size apples, but I still get a lot of these real little ones. So what I'm doing is I'm making an apple plum smoothie. And I'm going to experiment with at least one jar with the banana in there, because I haven't tried fermenting banana, and I don't know, I have this weird feeling it might turn out kind of funny. But we'll never know unless we try. So one of the jars I make, I'm going to add in the banana. What I have here are some plums. These are the red ones that I canned up in 2015. And they're really, really tasty, but they're very soft and mushy. So they're not really great to eat just out of the jar as is. And this was back before I realized that you didn't really have to put sugar in your fruits when you can them. And though I did a low sugar ratio on this, and it is organic sugar, it's still sweeter than I would like. So fermenting it has been the answer to cut back on the sweetness. And also using this to make smoothies and popsicles is a really good way to use these up. I made some creamsicles with these the other day, and oh my goodness, they turned out so good. And because of the sugar already in there, I didn't need to add any sugar to it. And what I have right here is the liquid I strained off of the plums from another jar that I used to make that batch of popsicles that I was talking about. And so I am fermenting this to remove the excess sugar and to make it more healthy, and then I can just drink it. Now, if you've never seen any of my popsicle videos or creamsicle videos, I'll try to remember to post a link right up here to that. If I forget, please remind me. I don't always remember, because my videos, I make them, but it may be 2 weeks before I actually get them up. Okay, so that's about half. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these in half and throw the whole apple in there. And if there's any bad spots, then I'll just cut those off. And I don't worry about the seeds. I know a lot of people freak out about things like apple seeds and peach seeds and things like that, but they're really nothing to be afraid of. When you're getting the seeds from your fruit, they're not as toxic as they try to scare you into believing. Trace amounts of cyanide are actually, in its natural form as is found in your seeds, is actually good for you. And I've actually eaten peach kernels before, and they have not hurt me one bit. In fact, they were kind of tasty, a little bit bitter, more like a bitter almond, and they made me feel pretty good. You just don't want to eat too many, obviously, at once. And the same thing goes with your apples. As long as you're eating the whole fruit, the seed is just a part of it and is actually quite beneficial to you. So let me do one more of these apples, and then we'll just process this up. And as you can see, and as also could be expected. It's not the prettiest color, but when you taste this, it is so good, especially after it's been fermented. And but you could add some other things to it, health boosting things like spirulina or chlorella or turmeric or whatever it is you like. In fact, I just had an idea that ginger would be really good in this. A little bit of ginger in there. And we'll blend that up again. Get that all mixed through there. I'm going to take a taste test. This actually turned out much thicker than the last one I made. So I should have added the fermentation starter in the blender, but I was afraid it would get too fizzy if I did that. So what I'm using today is my blueberry fermentation starter, but I want to show you something else. I just made an apple fermentation starter because I wanted to try it out. I never tried it. And I started this a few days ago and it looks ready, so I could probably use this too. Yeah, it's ready. It's very fizzy. In fact, maybe I'll use this so I can see how well this one works. The blueberry, by the way, has been, even though it took longer to really get good and fizzy, this has been a really, really good one. So I'm happy with the blueberry. I don't know why it took longer. Everybody else was saying the same thing when they tried it with blueberry. But after I started keeping it in the fridge, you know, and just let it sit in there, it just kept fermenting and it got good and fizzy. So I've been using this one just as regularly as the other ones. But today, let's do this apple one so we can give it a try. Okay, and what you want is about a 1/4 cup of your fermentation starter. And by the way, if you're new to my channel and you don't know how to make the fermentation starter, you can find a video on that right up here. And it's super easy, and you can use any fruit you have on hand. I've done this with peaches, and I've done this with strawberries successfully, blueberries, raspberries, grapes, raisins. They're all wonderful. So a 1/4 cup per jar, and I'm not even going to measure. I'm just going to pour it in there, because if you get a little bit more, it's not going to hurt anything. And I try to avoid, though I'm sure stainless steel probably is fine, I still try to avoid using metals when it comes to my ferments. Okay, well, hopefully I have a Tatler lid I can put on that. But another option is to put on like a recycled peanut butter lid. Those usually fit pretty good on your regular mouth, which I think is what I'll do, because I think not sure how many more the regular mouth. I just got more regular mouth lids in, and I've almost used all those up, even though I got 2 boxes. Okay, so now I'm going to take the rest and do the banana apple plum smoothie. Oh yes, and I was gonna say that one I made last week. It was really, really good. So I'm going to insert a picture of that right here. And if you followed me on Facebook, you may have seen that. And I actually made a mistake in that post. I was forgetting that was the one I also made with the plums like this. I didn't make it with fresh plums that were given to me. It was actually made with this, and that was another reason why I was fermenting it. Because the fermentation process is going to eat up all that sugar. And obviously the longer you let it ferment, the less sugar is actually going to be in the finished product. So let me add my apples to this batch, and then once this is fermented, I can keep it in the fridge for a decent amount of time. Now, one thing you got to know about, just like I said with the fruit ferment, if you're trying to avoid alcohol, you're still going to want to use it up within a certain amount of time, because even in the refrigerator, it will keep fermenting and it'll eventually turn to wine. So if you're like me and you're avoiding alcohol, just keep that in mind. Or if you're giving it to your children, it's best to use it up right away if you're giving it to your kids, like after it's fermented for 3 days. Pour that in here. Ooh, that one filled it right up. Now I'll put a red lid on this one so I know that there's a difference. I probably should still mark them because I'll probably forget which one's the banana, but it's actually, you can see the difference in color. This is the one with the banana, so it's clearly a lighter color. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this out for 3 days, and I'll come back when this is all fermented and I'll give you an update in this same video, believe it or not, on how this turned out, especially with the banana, because that's going to be a new one. It sure smells wonderful as is. I haven't tasted this one yet, but I know it's going to be really good. And hopefully it will ferment well. So, all right, I'll be back in 3 days, or in about half a second for you. Okay, well, it's been 3 days and the fruit smoothies are ready and they are very good, both of them. The banana turned out really good. In fact, the one with the banana in it I like better, but the flavor is not what I expected. It doesn't actually taste like banana. It does a little bit if you think about it, but either way, it's really good. And that's this one right here in this glass, and they're actually really thick. So a little advice on this: if when I do this again, I'm not going to put as much in the jars, or I'm going to put this in a half-gallon jar, because what happens is as it's fermenting, all the pulp pushes up to the top, and then you're more likely to have it overflow and make a mess all over your counter. So I keep ending up with this sticky mess all over my counter, and fruit flies are everywhere, but I do have a fruit fly trap started. Got a few fruit flies in there already. So hopefully we'll take care of that. I'll get these cleaned up and put in the refrigerator so that they're not attracting so many fruit flies. But anyway, so it was a success, and give it a try and do whatever fruits you want. And like I said, try to add in some things like ginger and turmeric and spirulina and whatever other little herbs that you like to throw in there. Maybe even some mixed greens from your garden, and just however it is you like to make your smoothies, if you're into that, and to have it fermented on top of it to make it even more healthy. All right, hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.